Hello, everyone. The article that I will be talking about today is Funds of Knowledge for Teaching Using a Qualitative Approach to Connect Homes and Classrooms. The methods of study in this article include ethnographic observations, life histories, case studies, and the participants used were working class Mexican communities in Tucson, Arizona. Their ultimate goal was to develop innovations in teaching that draw upon the knowledge and skills found in local households. A brief study of the article was studying household knowledge. A group of teachers conducted household interviews with parents from Spanish-dominant immigrant households. Many of these teachers had not conducted any field work, so they were nervous to go into strangers' home and try to conduct research. Many of them had speculations and stereotypical thoughts before going in. One teacher had heard talk of dysfunctional homes, lack of discipline, lack of support systems, and these thoughts helped her to remain skeptical about the process. However, once she was in the home of one of her students, the parents and teachers both spent a lot of time discussing the child and his activities/events in school. This helped ease the interview process. Parents were extremely happy to speak about their son and it helped break the ice. As the interview went forward, they gathered different information such as a family life in the country of origin, which was Mexico, the school systems in Mexico, and their family life both here in the US and in Mexico. Teachers were able to understand different parenting styles, discuss literacy and attitudes towards school, family labor history in Mexico and in the US was also discussed. They found that immigrant students in their classroom were often international travelers, that the social networks of the family and the communities were vast and could be used to help spread the word about school events, and that parents had several skills and knowledge that could be used for future class lessons. Funds of knowledge is the emphasis on strategic knowledge and related activities essential in households, functioning, development, and well being. But what is it? The official definition used by Louise Moll, Kathy Amonte, Deborah Neff, and Norma Gonzalez states it is to refer to the historically accumulated and culturally developed bodies of knowledge and skills essential for household or individual functioning and well being. Social, historical, political, and economical activities of people in a local region, not culture. Essentially, this is saying that when teachers shed their role of teacher and expert and instead take on a new role as a learner, they can come to know their students and their families of their students in new and distinct ways. With this new knowledge, they can begin to see that the households of their students contain rich cultural and cognitive resources, and that these resources can and should be used in the classroom in order to provide culturally responsive and meaningful lessons that tap students' prior knowledge. Information that teachers learn about their students in this process is considered the students' funds of knowledge. What is the difference between home and schools? Well, in school, teachers only know their students in a very limited way. Classroom is isolated from the social world and does not have funds of knowledge in the community. Children play a more passive role, and the topics taught are usually teacher or school directed. However, in home, the teachers, which are usually considered parents or family members, know their children in a different light and know them as a whole person. Active participants in the household, which are the children, can serve as translators, economic contributors, caretakers of siblings, or helpers with household chores. Knowledge is obtained by children based on needs, interests, and personal motivation. The big question is, why should teachers care? Why is it necessary to understand the background of each student? Well, as teachers, it is our job to know something about every single person in your classroom. For students that come with similar backgrounds as your own, it will not be that hard. However, for those who do not share the same cultural background as you, it can be more difficult to understand them. Funds of knowledge is one way to connect with your children and their families. It is the responsibility of each teacher to learn something special about each of the children they teach. What can we do in our classrooms? After the study of funds of knowledge, a teacher conducted a learning module based on one of her observations, which was Mexican candy. This teacher learned during her field study that her students was selling candy to neighbors and friends. She decided to incorporate this into her classroom by conducting a learning module on it. She asked all of her students what type of treats counted as candy. Is salty lemon tart flavorings considered a candy? They were intrigued to find out Mexican candy had a lot of these ingredients. They also did not have much artificial flavoring and dyes as in US candies. Mexican candies also used less ingredients. The teacher also brought in a child's mother to teach them how to make a Mexican treat. The parent became the teacher who taught children differences between Mexican and American candies. They were then able to wrap up their candy and sell it at the school talent show. To conclude this module, students wrote summaries on what they learned and had new questions about what kind of candy or food may exist in other countries. This module demonstrated that the teacher observed in her interview and how she created a lesson plan which not only utilized immigrant students' funds of knowledge, but benefited the entire classroom and served as a unique learning experience. With this information, we as teachers can also put into practice our children's fund of knowledge and create lesson plans and activities that incorporates cultural and background experiences for them as well as learning experiences for others. It is our job to further investigate the funds of knowledge of each child.